to the Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast with your hosts, Reese Downing and Jacob Workman.
What's going on, guys? It is TNT Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast, NFL Edition 2025 preview show. We are back to you live for the first time this year as far as NFL is concerned. We've done a couple college shows, but we are just now kicking off NFL. So thanks for joining us here. With me, as always, is the fine citizen, Mr. Jacob Workman. Jake, how's it going, brother?
Everything's good. I'm ready for NFL to get going. We got college going now. We're 9 days away from, I believe, your team actually starting the season.
Yes, that is correct. My team does start the season. We just finished picking 29 games in our college show for week 1. So did pretty well in week 0. Hopefully we can follow it up in week 1. Although you and I think of the 29 games that we picked, we had 12 different selections. So one of us is probably not going to do as well as the other, but we'll figure that out. We're looking forward to picking some NFL games as well. But this is, again, like I said, going to be the preview show. So we're going to kick things off here to talk about some of the biggest moves during the offseason, some of the bigger headlines, and then we're going to go into some of our favorite bets to kick off the year here. So let's kick things off with the biggest news. Stafford and Tay in LA. Not only did Matthew Stafford decide to come back to the Los Angeles Rams, but he is bringing Davante Adams with him, which is a pretty big deal for the Rams considering Cooper Kupp has left. Puka is going to get some support on the outside with Tay. Jake, how do you think Davante Adams is going to fit into this offense, especially now that Cooper Kupp's in Seattle and he's going to kind of have to step into that role?
Yeah, I mean, another weapon for Stafford. Stafford's played with no one. He's played with weapons. Stafford. I think it's going to be great. I think what Davante Adams does with Sean McVay is going to be fun to watch too. Obviously, they're going to have him everywhere. So, I mean, obviously, I think it's an improvement to the offense. I think they're going to be very good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tay definitely stays on the field more than Cooper does. I mean, I love Cooper Kupp as a player. I'm excited to see him play in Seattle, but Davante Adams does tend to stay healthier. I think last year was kind of a dud for him. Trying to catch the ball from that Jets team just wasn't that great. So I am glad that he is moving into a team that's going to have a better offense, better quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Hopefully Matt can keep his back healthy throughout the year. Rams offensive line definitely needs to keep him upright. I'm honestly a little bit more excited to see how this Rams defense is going to step up as they move into the next year, because they had some really young guys and they played very well and seemed to improve as the season went on. So we'll talk in a little bit here about where we have the Rams ending up in the division, but they've got a solid team there. Moving into the next topic we've got here. This is a big one, Jake, so I'm going to give you some time to kind of talk through things here, but obviously we've got the Lions coordinator clear out. So both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn have left Detroit. We've got a couple new coordinators that are in Motor City behind MCDC now. How do you think this coordinator shakeup is going to impact the Lions as they move into 2025?
Yeah, I don't think it matters. Benedict's gone. He can go coach the Bears. Great. John Morton's obviously been with MCDC, and Kelvin Shepard's been with MCDC too. Obviously, I was never that big on Glenn, as you know. The defense wasn't that great, honestly, under him. I mean, now last year was a little different story. Me and you could have played for the defense. They had so many injuries. But from what I've noticed in the preseason, it does look like Kelvin's going to be a little more aggressive, which I like. We've got the athletes on the outside. Free agency, we just keep getting better on defense. I'm pretty excited for Kelvin Shepard, actually. I think he's going to be kind of a sleepy, well, we'll see when we do our picks in a little bit, but sleepy pick for maybe coordinator of the year here. Morton, I think, is going to just continue. People think that was Benedict's offense. It was actually MCDC that kind of trained him. So we're not. MCDC is the one going on fourth down. MCDC is the aggressive coach. If you watch the quarterback series when they made the decision to go for it on fourth down against the Packers, it was Goff and MCDC having the conversation. I think he's a little bit more important than people realize because he plays that meathead football guy. But MCDC is the offense. Like, he brought it. It's him. So I think it's going to get a little overblown. But I think we're in great shape. I mean, Andy Reid loses coordinators all the time and people don't question it. I think we should kind of be in that same situation here.
Yeah, I mean, respectfully, I don't know that I would compare Andy Reid and MCDC just yet. But to your point, I do think that MCDC has a lot to do with that offense. I don't want to take everything away from Ben Johnson because I do think that the Bears, as an example, are going to see an uptick in offense with Ben as the head coach. I'll be interested to see what Glenn does in the Jets. That's a franchise that seems to find its way to get in front of itself and make some mistakes. But yeah, I'm not expecting a drop off really with Detroit. You guys retained basically all the talent that you had. I'll be interested to see how the Sonic and Knuckles stuff gets rolled out this year, if it's going to stay balanced or if Gibbs is going to start getting a couple more touches than Monty. I know it's situational at times, depending on, which team, and if you need a power back or if you need somebody like Gibbs, it's going to be a little bit more speedy. But yeah, I'm excited for it. And I think Detroit is going to pick up right where they left off last year. So on the flip side of the equation in the AFC, the Pittsburgh Steelers did a ton of movement, including grabbing Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey, and Johnny Smith that both come in from Miami. There's a lot of movement there. In addition, we have guys like Micah Fitzpatrick in Miami. Tunsil got traded from Houston to DC. Seattle obviously shipped Geno Smith to Sin City to play with Pete Carroll. Darnold is now with McDonald's in Seattle. George Pickens landed in Dallas. He's left. Which of these moves do you think is going to be the most impactful for their team? Or is there another offseason move that we don't have here listed that you think is going to have a bigger impact?
I mean, the Steelers are, that's a huge change. I think that what they've went out and done, I think they're going to be really good. I mean, the Steelers are traditionally a good team. They always have a winning record, but I think this is something that's big for them. I don't think they're like Super Bowl worthy, but I do think they're like could possibly win a playoff game worthy, which is a big difference from what they've been. They put my favorite corner duo on, not complete favorite, but Jalen Ramsey with Darius Slay. That's two of my favorite players in the NFL. So I think that's cool that they put them together. Rodgers with some weapons. TJ Watt's back. So I kind of like the Steelers out of all of these moves. Pickens to Dallas doesn't seem like much to me. Darnold really doesn't seem like that big of a deal either, because if I were them, I'd be working my way to Milrow pretty quickly. Geno with Pete Carroll is something. I don't know. That offense still kind of skeptical to me. Tunsil is what it is. I don't know. I guess to me, the Steelers stuff out of this would be the most important.
Yeah, I like the fact that Washington went out and got some extra protection for Daniels. That's going to be important. I do think that the George Pickens signing for Dallas is going to be a little bit more impactful than what it's getting credit for, because CD was out on an island, and now we have a guy that's going to be in the number 2 spot that I don't feel like we've fully had since early in Gallup's career, and Gallup is obviously retired at this point. Brandon Cooks never really got used how we wanted him to get used. And I'm interested to see how this offense is going to look when they've got 2 solid weapons as receiver. But I agree with you. The moves that Pittsburgh made, my big question mark is A-Rod, man. I just don't like it's been very limited in the video that we've seen, but he took forever to get with the team, which is something that he always does. And then a lot of the clips that I've seen so far just haven't been only impressive. So like Father Time is undefeated. We know that it catches up with everybody at some point in time, and we'll see how Rodgers can do. All these weapons that he's got to work with aren't going to matter if he can't get the ball out quickly. And we'll see what happens in Pittsburgh. But I definitely think that the moves that were made by Pittsburgh are the most impactful.
Yeah, but even in the second half of the season last year, Rodgers played really well for the Jets. So I don't really think it was a him problem. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it was entirely a him problem, but I don't think it was. I think that he had something to do with it for sure, and it's also another year under his belt. So that's my biggest concern, is just like, how much longer is it going to be until A-Rod just really starts to show his age? So we'll see what happens there. Some other big headlines. Obviously, Cam Ward went number 1 to the Tennessee Titans. They're moving on from Levis, obviously. What are your thoughts on Cam Ward? We talked in the preseason last year about how we really liked some of the tools that were on Tennessee's team, and they just didn't come to fruition last year. How do you think this Titans offense is going to look with Cam Ward under center, understanding that you weren't a huge fan of him when he was in Miami in college?
Yeah, I mean, I loved him before he was there, though. I think he's a good player. I think he's going to be good in Nashville, but them with their running back injury, I know he's going to be out for the first few weeks of the season. The dude from Tulane, Spears, I think is his name.
Spears, yeah, Tyjae Spears.
So, I mean, that's going to be a big deal. That division that they're in is not good. Anyone can win that division. So I think he'll have a little bit of a benefit there. But I think he's a pretty successful year. I think Ward was the right pick for them. And I think he'll be doing good things this year in his rookie year.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how he leverages these guys. You've got Calvin Ridley is still in the wide receiver 1 spot. Tyler Lockett's there. He's obviously on the back half of his career. Van Jefferson has been a serviceable slot receiver at times. Okonkwo, he played pretty well as a tight end last year for Tennessee. Obviously, you got Pollard. Tyjae Spears is going to start the season on IR, so we'll see what happens with Tennessee. But I do kind of like the offense. We'll see what happens with Ward as a rookie. Obviously, that's always kind of a crapshoot. Another thing that big happened in the AFC is that after 1 year, the Patriots moved on from Gerard Mayo after going 4-13, and they bring in another defensive legend from Gillette and Mike Vrabel. We're going to talk a little bit more about this in a bit, but how do you think this head coach switch changes things in Foxborough?
Yeah, I think it's perfect. Vrabel fits more of what we in our lifetime know of the Patriots. I think there will be no bullshit. I loved Vrabel as a coach when he was in Tennessee. May is up and coming. Like I think May will be in for a pretty good year. I'm actually pretty big on the Patriots this year, so I think it's going to be a great thing. I think the fans will embrace him, and it'll turn out to have a pretty good season for them in his first season there.
Yeah, I think the fans are definitely going to embrace him. But if you look at that strength of schedule, man, New England can be sneaky in getting to the playoffs, and we're going to talk about it here in a little bit. But Vrabel's leadership in the building is something that I wanted to happen in Dallas, and I think this is a perfect fit for him. He's got some tools to be able to use with Diggs there and some of the other guys. But I'm interested to see. I honestly think Tennessee never should have moved away from Vrabel in the first place. So I think this is a solid pickup for New England and a move in the right direction. Let's talk about Cincinnati. Cincinnati was very busy in the offseason, and most recently they got another guy locked in. So in the offseason, they extended Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki, and now Trey Hendrickson, who has been up in the air as a possible trade candidate or somebody that wants to be out of Cincinnati, has been locked up. So they do have him under contract, and he is going to be a Bengal for 2025. Obviously a very deep division in the AFC North with the Ravens. We just talked about the Steelers. How do you think the Bengals are shaping up in 2025 with all of these weapons and Burrow hoping to have a full season under his belt?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I love their offense, but their defense sucks. Like, that's a huge problem. I think that's going to be their downfall. I know that they brought in Al Golden, they got rid of Big Lou, but we'll see what Al Golden does. I don't have a lot of faith in this team. Getting Trey back is huge, but I don't think Trey is the difference of 14 points.
Yeah, he's one guy out of 11, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's their issue. So
yeah.
Obviously, their offense is loaded, but they're going to have to be because they're going to have to win shootouts every week if they want to win. So I'm not too I don't have as big of an outlook on Cincinnati as I did last year. So I unfortunately think it's going to be kind of a struggle this year for them.
Yeah, they always seem to fall short of expectations. So bringing Golden in, obviously, he's already familiar with the system there, so hopefully that helps them out a bit. But yeah, it's Trey Hendrickson. I mean, if he hadn't been there, then it would be a hell of a lot worse. But Cincinnati's defense is definitely the question mark. They are going to have to put up a lot of points in order to stay in some of these contests because their schedule is not that easy either. Now that Hendrickson is locked in on his deal in Cincy, Micah Parsons is now the only edge rusher yet to be locked into an extension or contract agreement beyond his current contract. Last week, he was seen laying on the medical table in the middle of the game. Schottenheimer came out and said that he was going to have a conversation with Micah about that. Micah has had a bit of a back problem he's been dealing with. Story just keeps going back and forth here. I've got my own opinions on it, obviously, as a Cowboys fan. Frustrating to hear that from Micah's perspective anyway, he's being disrespected. From Jerry's side of the equation, he had a deal done, and when he went to go send the paperwork, quote unquote, the agent told him to kick rocks. Now, this is the same agent that was working with T. Higgins. T. Higgins couldn't get to a deal with Cincinnati, and then Higgins fired this dude, and then a few days later, Higgins ended up getting his contract done with Cincinnati. So I don't know if it's an agent issue or not, but this also could be Jerry. I mean, if anybody's been watching the America's Team documentary, like, he wants this thing to be a soap opera 365 days a year, and it's 100% doing that. So are we going to get the same thing we did last year, where right before the week 1 game starts, Dak gets signed? Is the same thing going to happen with Micah? Interested to hear your thoughts, because this situation's been messy, to say the least.
I'm not sure, but I thought Micah's agent was Mulugeta, which is one of the best agents in sports. I mean, I didn't look it up, but I'm pretty sure his agent's Mulugeta. But I don't know. I don't know what to make of this, because Jerry's a jackass. They spent so much money on Dak last year, which to me is still crazy, because now situations like this are up and they don't want to play Micah. To me, Micah's 95,000 times more important to this team than Dak Prescott is. So it's an interesting move to me. I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, the Cowboys play a game in 9 days. I'd be pretty shocked if Micah's on the field for that game. I don't know what to think. If we get to maybe week 3, week 4, maybe Jerry's like, okay, we'll pay him. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to this, but it doesn't seem promising. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, I mean, and from the rumors, it sounds like both the Packers and the Bills have sent over offers with multiple picks to try to get Micah. Now, the Jerry's said no. I mean, Micah is under contract. Mulugeta is the agent, but he's also the one that T. Higgins fired a few months ago before Higgins got his contract signed. So it's the same dude.
Yeah, but Mulugeta's a genius. So to me, that's a T. Higgins problem. I'd like to go back and see what Higgins was offered with Mulugeta as opposed to what he got, because I would be surprised if it was much different.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that it could be a T. Higgins situation. I'm just saying that there's stuff out there, you know, with Higgins and him end up signing with the team. Like, is Mulugeta playing hardball? And I mean, I don't know, man. I'm sick of hearing about it, but again, this is like, it's a circus every day, it seems like, in Dallas. So Micah needs to get paid. He deserves to get paid. He's one of the best defensive players in the league. He's one of the best defensive players in a long time to wear a Cowboys jersey. He wants to be a Cowboy. There's no reason that we should be doing this shit. He does this with all of the big guys. You know, Dallas is definitely not the team that Jerry is still living in the 90s. And
I just hope that if they do trade him, that even for his own benefit, and hopefully he's smart enough to send them to an AFC team. Like, let's at least be smart here. But
yeah, don't send him to Green Bay of all teams. You know, that would be horrible. Buffalo would be scary if Mike Parsons was on that team. Not that they're not already scary. They're gonna be one of the best teams in the AFC. Adding him would be chaotic.
It'd be ridiculous. Yeah.
So we're talking about trades here. A question mark trade for me. I know the guy's 26, but Brian Robinson just got shipped from the Commanders to San Fran for what feels like a steal in a 6th-round draft pick. He's in a crowded backfield with Christian McCaffrey, Garindo, the rookie running back from Oregon, Jordan James, Jeff Wilson. We're going to go through the cuts today. Jeff Wilson Jr. was cut today to make room for B-Rob. How do you think Shanahan's going to deploy these guys? Because B-Rob's, I can only imagine he had to at least be okay with the trade to San Fran, or maybe they just shipped him out and they didn't have a conversation with him about it. But understanding C-Max had some health issues and stuff like that, I'm just interested to see how Shanahan's going to deploy this. I know he typically does running back by committee, but does this take some pressure off of C-Mac to have to take the ball so often, and B-Rob take some of those early downs to hopefully keep C-Mac healthy throughout the year?
Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's more of a safety valve for the unknown with McCaffrey, because you can't expect McCaffrey to probably go through the season healthy this year. Like I'd be surprised if he plays every game. So I think it's more of added depth. I think it's a good addition. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think it's more added depth and usage. If James gets to play, I'd like that. I liked him at Oregon a lot. I don't know how much playing time he's really going to get, but obviously you get the option too. If McCaffrey does end up being healthy, that McCaffrey can play more spread out too, with Robinson being the backfield running back too. So,
right.
It's just more pieces for San Francisco. I think it was a good move, especially for the fifth, I think they gave up. So
sixth, they a sixth round pick.
So yeah.
I mean, it's a no brainer on San Francisco. I just don't understand why Washington agreed to that, but it is what it is. Robinson didn't want to be there, so I guess get rid of the distraction. Dan Quinn just wants to keep things moving. One thing I did skip over here is Kenny Pickett being on the move again. So Scott and I had this conversation over the weekend, and it sounded like going into this weekend that Cleveland was planning on going into the regular season with 4 quarterbacks, which would be insane. But on the flip side of the equation, you have Dylan Gabriel, who they spent a 3rd-round pick on. You're not going to cut this dude that early. And then you have Shedeur, who, like it or not, he didn't play all that well in the preseason, but he's selling jerseys, and it's going to keep them in the news just because of Shedeur Sanders for now anyway. And he's a rookie quarterback, so you don't want to give up on him that quickly. Pickett got shipped to Vegas, and now he's going to be backing up Geno Smith. Flacco's the starter for now. How long until you think Cleveland makes a move and puts one of these rookies in?
Yeah, so I think Pickett getting traded to me makes sense. I think O'Connell got hurt, so they didn't have a backup in Vegas, so it made sense. I don't think they were going to keep 4 anyway. I think Pickett was always going to be traded at some point, so it was perfect timing. The 3 that are there, the 3 I expected to be there. Shedeur will be the emergency quarterback. It'll be Flacco with Gabriel at 2, and Shedeur won't even be active. So, it is what it is. I think Flacco will start most of the season, to be honest. If they get to a point where they are week 8 or 9 and they've only won 1 or 2 games, then yeah, they'll probably see Gabriel at that point.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I don't know if it's going to take week 8 or 9, just because I don't know how long Flacco is going to be able to keep healthy, but we'll see what happens. I do think Gabriel is going to be the option to move forward if and when Flacco steps away from the starting role. Okay, last thing we've got here before we move into some betting stuff. We did have it's roster cut day. So we've mentioned a couple guys here. Not anybody here that's overly surprising. Miami cut edge Quentin Bell and cornerback Mike Hilton. The Giants did end up cutting Tommy Cutlets. So Tommy Cutlets is no longer a Giant. They've got Russ Jamison Jackson Dart on the roster. Patriots cut former 1st-round pick Cole Strange. The Niners we just talked about, they did cut Jeff Wilson Jr. They also cut their only punter in Thomas Morstead. So I assume that they have a guy in mind to step into that role. Pittsburgh cut wide receiver Robert Woods and running back Trey Sermon, amongst others. Atlanta cut former 1st-rounder CJ Henderson. Detroit cut my boy Hendon Hooker. I was looking forward to seeing more football out of Hendon Hooker. What were your thoughts on that?
The fuck out of Detroit as fast as possible. Jesus Christ, I had so much hope for that guy. Man, bend me over and shoot footballs out of my ass, and I would have been just as good as he was. Like, it was terrible. And in college at Tennessee, he at least, I know he got hurt running, so that's probably part of it, but he couldn't run for shit for Detroit. Like, oh my God. Like, and you just thought like maybe it would get better. No, it did not get better. Ass. Kyle Allen, that last preseason game, played phenomenal. Kyle Allen, cool. Back up too. I'm fine with it. Get Hendon. Hendon wouldn't surprise me. I did read a little bit about it too, but I'm thinking of places like, hey, I think Kellen Moore in New Orleans might take a little shot at him. They did cut my boy Jake Haener after his Playgirl photo shoot last year, and some of the greatest photos of all time. But I think we might see Hendon Hooker in New Orleans. That wouldn't surprise me. It could have even already been done. We've been doing 2 podcasts, so I haven't been able to really check roster changes. One other thing I want to note, just because you did mention the Giants quarterback, the absolute hilarity of things that you see with Jackson Dart and Jameis Winston together is becoming one of my favorite.
Oh, dude.
Things. The Giants are going to be a team I root for just because of Jameis and Jackson Dart. Like, it's perfect. The social media content that comes out of that team, Russ Wilson has to just be pissed because he's like, he sleeps with his pads on, and you got Jameis and Jackson Dart who are over here with the clown show, which is awesome. It's
chewing, chewing W's on the sidelines with the camera and stuff.
Jackson Dart put his W in Jameis's mouth.
In Jameis's mouth, and Jameis is just staring at the camera.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
I love it and I hate it because I hate the Giants, but I love Jameis, and I was a big fan of Jackson Dart. Obviously, I was rooting for Ole Miss, so. The dichotomy of watching that occur against a team that I can't stand. But Jameis is Jameis, man. I can't. When that dude retires, put him on. I don't care what show it is. Like,
yes,
I need to hear him weekly. That dude is he's a trip.
He did. I know it was like last season or 2 seasons. What was he in New Orleans or was he in? I think it. Man, he might have already been traded. It might have been before last season. It was either last season or 2 seasons ago. He did an interview with Theo Vaughn before the season. And my God, I will still go back and watch it and just crack up because the shit that comes out of that guy's mouth.
The shit that he was doing during the Super Bowl was hilarious when they were in New Orleans, man.
Perfect hire.
100%. Yeah.
I was actually hoping that maybe Kyle Allen would have a little bit of a struggle. I was hoping Jameis was going to be our backup, to be honest, because MCDC with Jameis, you couldn't find a greater television show on earth than those two together, right? God,
I mean, just Hard Knocks just immediately packs up and leaves Orchard Park and heads straight to Motor City. Yeah, that
would have been incredible.
Yes. All right, let's run through a couple of these other ones here. The Titans cut quarterback Trevor Siemian and defensive lineman Carlos Watkins, amongst others. Washington cut Cleveland Farrell, who started 10 games for him last season. The Bengals cut quarterback Desmond Ridder. Dallas cut running back Deuce Vaughn, which always cracks me up because every time he's on the field, my wife asks me how short that guy is. So I'm not going to get that question anymore. They also did let go of offensive lineman Lyle Collins. New Orleans cut Donovan Peoples-Jones and running back Cam Akers. The Texans have cut safety Jalen Mills and former first-rounder Damon Arnett. And finally, Seattle, I saw right before the show here, Seattle cut MVS, but he's going to walk away with $3 million in guaranteed money to show up for a few weeks of practice. So it's hard to feel too bad for that guy. I'm sure there's going to be more roster cuts that are going to happen over the course of the next couple hours, possibly. Obviously, there's going to be some guys that are going to get signed on to new teams. We'll track that stuff and cover it as we move into week 1 picks next week.
Hopefully we see Zadarius Smith return to fucking Detroit. Been waiting for that signing for like 3 weeks now. Pissed off.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We do have one last thing here, and this is purely for Jake, but we just wanted to call it out here real quick.
Congrats. As we said on the college football show, it's a love story, baby. She just said yes. So look at this beautiful news for the football season to start.
The world celebrates. First, you see these two lovebirds canoodling on the podcast with the Kelsey brothers, and now they've announced that they are engaged.
In a new album coming out,
new album. Yeah, I mean, Tay runs the world. That's how it goes. Congratulations, kids. All right, let's move into some of our betting lines. So we are going to kick things off here with division champ picks. We'll try to roll through these relatively quickly. We're going to start off with the NFC East. I'm going to kick things off here. I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning the NFC East. It's not prototypical for a team to repeat in the NFC East. Usually there's a lot of volatility in this division. Not going to have it this year. I think Philadelphia is pretty easily going to be able to grab the division title sitting at minus 135. Jake?
As you guys can see our graphic here, we have a lot of similar thoughts here. I'm on Philly too. I think they're the best team in the division. It is going to be interesting because of the repeat factor. And obviously Washington will be a little closer. I just don't think Dallas or the Giants are that capable. I think if anyone is the team that does it, it's Washington, but I think Philly's a little strong here. Moving to the NFC North, line plus 155 is
crazy
disgrace. Like, get at it. There's so much disrespect for this team. I read a thing that they're the most bet team to miss the playoffs. Like, what are you watching? People forget how good this team was. That loss to Washington, forget. We're a team that thrives in this shit. Do you think MCDC doesn't love that? Perfect. That's exactly what we need. The beginning of our schedule's pretty tough. It's going to be a little tough at the beginning of the year. The nice thing is there's only one late season outside game at Chicago. Outside of that, we're pretty much indoor and in good weather. So I love this team. This MCDC, first off, we cut you. didn't say this, which upsets me a little bit. We cut Dan Skipper. Dan Skipper was our 6th lineman, ruled eligible every play, fan favorite. Everyone loves Dan Skipper. MCDC said this is the best team he's had since he's been in Detroit. And I think the cutting of Dan Skipper, a lot of people won't realize this if you're not really a Lions fan and watch their games. The cutting of Dan Skipper to me is what tells you this team's fucking good. This team is Minnesota, JJ McCarthy, a lot of questions. I'm not that big on Minnesota. The Packers, never know what you're getting with that team. They're all over the place. I do expect improvement, but the receiver game there, I know they drafted one, but you still never know what you're getting. And the Bears with Benedict, I still don't think they're quite that good yet. So I think the Lions in this one, I don't honestly think it's that close. 155 with the Lions to me is a disgrace. I will gladly take them.
Yeah, 155 is definitely surprising. I do think the Lions, part of this could be just because of the schedule. You guys do have a tough schedule to start the season. Starting off on the road against Green Bay, you've got Chicago at home. Then you're on the road at Baltimore. Skip over that Cleveland game in Cincinnati. Probably a win. Then you got to travel to KC. Then you get Tampa, and you get your bye at week 8. Tampa, we're going to talk about them in just a second here, but that is going to be a tough team if they can stay healthy. That is, they're dealing with a little bit of injury right now, but yeah, I mean, even with that, taking a look at these schedules, man, it's hard not to see Detroit coming in as the NFC North champ. So I also have them sitting at plus 155. As Jake said, we are pretty much aligned here. Moving into the NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are sitting at plus 100. I don't think this is going to be too much of a contest either. I do think the most improved team is going to be split between the Falcons and the Panthers. I like what Carolina did with a couple of their draft picks. Obviously, Penix is going to be moving into his first full season, so we'll see how things shake out in Atlanta. But I've got Tampa Bay rated in the top 12 to 13 teams in the league. Baker's going to have to take control of the turnovers a little bit, but he's got so many freaking weapons on that offense. It is ridiculous. And Todd Bowles is going to have that defense playing pretty well, regardless who's on the field. So at plus 100, I had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning the NFC South. Jake, you've got the same thing here.
Yeah, same with you. The receiver injuries are a little bit of a question for me at the beginning of the year, though. So I'm interested to see how they're going to maneuver through that with the receiver injuries. But yeah, I had them finishing the season at 11-6, and I had Atlanta right behind them at 9-8. So I do think that Tampa will win this one. I gave them a couple game win here. NFC West, the Rams, obviously they're a team I love. Last year, they took Philly to the fucking brink in the snow. And this team's just better now. This is a very good team. I know the NFC West is a little bit of a better division, but I think San Francisco's got a lot of questions, and I don't think Seattle or Arizona is that good yet. So I think the Rams plus 200 is huge here. So I'll be on my boy Stafford and the Florida State boys on the D line. Give me the Rams plus the 200.
Yeah, I mean, the big question mark here, right, is going to be if Stafford can stay healthy. But as we've talked about quite a bit, Stafford is the toughest, possibly the toughest dude, at least a quarterback to ever play in the NFL. That guy finds a way to stay on the field. He can be very immobile, and he will still be out there throwing darts. I've got the Rams winning the NFC West as well at plus 200. I do have the Seahawks finishing just above San Francisco in the division with Arizona towing at the bottom of the pile here. That is it for the NFC, and we're going to move into the AFC side of the equation. Jake, you want to kick things off here with the AFC East?
Yeah. So obviously, as you can see again, we only have one change on this one. So we were pretty 7 for 8 on our division winners here of being paired. Bills at minus 270. Obviously, they're minus 270 for a reason. To me, this division's pretty weak except for New England. I think the Jets and Dolphins are both in for just god-awful years. I did my season picks, and I had the Jets and Dolphins both winning 3 games each. I don't think either one of them are worth a shit. New England, on the other hand, surprise team. I had them finishing 12-5 and being the second place team in this division, and I had the Bills being 14-3. So I am on the Bills. I like what they're doing the last year in their stadium before the new one's done. I do like Buffalo here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't think it's going to be a contest in the AFC East, but again, I am also with you on who's going to finish second. Last year, in the last couple of years, it's been Miami. I think New England's going to take a pretty major step forward. Their strength of schedule is very favorable. It's one of the better ones in the league. You add Mike Vrabel and what he's going to be able to do with that program. I think it's very possible that New England might even sneak into the playoffs, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I do have Buffalo winning the AFC East pretty handily, which is why they are sitting at minus 270. On the AFC North side, I've got the Baltimore Ravens sitting at minus 155. Another situation where you've got a couple teams that could give them a run for their money with Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. There's just question marks to both of those teams. I think if anybody's going to do it, it's probably going to be Pittsburgh. They find ways to win games even when they're a little bit undermanned. But I do have Baltimore repeating as the AFC North champion, sitting at minus 155. Jake, you've got the same thing here.
Yeah, exact same. Unfortunately, I mean, just looking, I don't trust Cincinnati's defense, and the Browns are the Browns. I don't trust them at all. So I think it's the Ravens and the Steelers that kind of come down to a battle here. I like the Ravens schedule a little bit more favorable for them and their talent a little bit more. Obviously, I think they're a little bit more experienced with Lamar over Aaron Rodgers at this point in their careers. I actually had the Ravens finishing 15-2 and the number 1 seed in the AFC.
All right. What about the AFC South?
AFC South, Houston Texans plus 110. This is, to me, going to be the closest division just because no one's good. There's so many variables to this division. This is kind of like the Big 12 of the NFL. I feel like anyone can win in this division. Doing my little breakdown, I did have Houston coming out 9-8, so I did have them winning the division, but I had the Colts and the Jags right behind them at 8-9. And then Tennessee, I had at 6-10. So obviously I have this division as close as you can possibly be. I do just like Houston a little bit better. I trust Stroud more than pretty much any of those other quarterbacks in the division. I am interested to see what the Colts look like with Daniel Jones, though. I don't think they're as bad off as people think, and it'd be interesting to see how they work. But like I said, this division, pick a name out of a hat and you probably have a good bet.
Yeah, I feel a little bit differently about this division. I think that Houston's a little above and beyond the other three teams in this division. I do have the Jags sitting in the second spot, and then the Colts and the Titans. So I've got them in the same list. I don't have my win losses in front of me because the wonderful playoff predictor decided not to save my stuff. But yeah, I've got Houston here. I was a little surprised that they're just at plus 110. I think there's a little bit of a jump between where the Texans sit and where Jacksonville and Indy are going to sit. I'm not as high on Indy with Daniel Jones, and we'll talk about that here shortly. But I do have the Houston Texans also winning the AFC South at plus 110. This is the only change that Jake and I have here. I've got the Denver Broncos at plus 290 winning the AFC West. I think their schedule can be a little bit favorable when it comes to that. I think they can go 1-1 with Kansas City. Kansas City does not have that easy of a schedule. And most importantly, I like the plus 290 that you're going to get here. Denver, I think, can make another step in the right direction. This is going to be the second year with Bo Nix under Sean Payton. I think this defense is one of the better defenses in the league. They've added a couple pieces on the offensive side of the ball. Sean Payton, he's going to be able to put points up on the board. I like Denver's odds to potentially come in and dethrone Kansas City in the AFC West. So I've got the Broncos sitting here at plus 290, as much as our buddy Ike Houston is not going to like that.
Yeah, so I had this division. I actually have 3 teams from this division making the playoffs. I have the Chiefs going 13-4. I have the Chargers going 12-5, and I have Denver going 10-7. So I actually have Denver in third place. But I'm not saying that they're a bad. I think they're a great team. Like I think they're going to be really good this year. The Surtain Jahdae Barron combination. I mean, with draft night, I talked about Jahdae Barron the whole fucking draft. Like I love that guy. He's incredible. Him mixed with Surtain, like
yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's really good. I just trust the Chiefs a little bit more. I know it's
historical.
Record,
I understand it. Yeah,
but they prove it. They do it year after year after year after year after year. There's nothing to me that says why not this year. And honestly, I like the Chargers too. I like what they're doing. I have some questions with them. Schedule wise, though, is what got them to such a high win. Their schedule was a little favorable for me. But like I said, I do have all 3 teams making the playoffs. So I do like all of them, but I'll take the Chiefs to continue the roll.
All right. Well, let's keep it rolling here. We've given you guys our division picks. Let's move right into awards predictions. Jake, you want to run us through your 8 selections here?
Yeah, I'll do this kind of quickly. Josh Allen, I know he was the MVP last year. Buffalo's still Buffalo. I think they're going to be good again this year. I think the number should only be better. Plus 600. I'm guessing that it's that high because of the back-to-back factor. But Lamar's also won 2 in a row recently too. So, I mean, who's to say it can't happen? I like what they're doing. I'm going to take Josh Allen plus 600. I think that's good odds. Offensive player of the year, Jahmyr Gibbs at plus 1,300. I love this. I think the Lions are going to have a great year. New offensive coordinator is going to put Gibbs everywhere. Not only is he going to line up in the backfield with Monty at the same time, but he's also going to be split out wide, which means he's going to have more receptions. I think his running yards are going to be crazy. I think if you can add in 400 or 500 receiving yards and maybe 5 or 6 receiving touchdowns to it, there's a good chance. I like it. That's a lot of plus 1,300 is good odds to me for a player that's going to be one of the better players in the NFL. Defensive player of the year, TJ Watt, got his new deal done. I mean, at any season ever, he could lead the league in sacks, strip sacks. You never know what he's going to do. Might even have a pick or two. I do like TJ Watt at plus 850. Coach of the year, Vrabel, plus 750. We just talked about, we think the Patriots are going to have huge improvement for that reason alone. I think Vrabel gets that. Offensive rookie of the year. I was just talking about the Colts and what I like with them. I think Tyler Warren's going to be huge. Again, another player that he can line up at running back. He can line up at receiver, line up at tight end. You never know where you're going to get him. He's a mixed match everywhere. He might even take direct snaps. I mean, on the goal line, you never know. I mean, why not put him in instead of Daniel Dimes or something? Like Tyler Warren can plow his way in. I think he's a safe bet. Use him more of like a Taysom Hill, but to me, much more talented than Taysom Hill. Obviously, he can't throw the ball as well, but other than that, plus 2,200 for Tyler Warren, a player that's going to be featured a lot. I like that. Defensive rookie of the year, Abdul Carter. I know this one's not as nice at plus 185, but to me, it seems like a pretty easy pick. Honestly, I think he's going to kill it. Comeback player of the year, Aiden Hutchinson. There just weren't a lot of guys, honestly, on this list that I liked.
Yeah.
Aiden at plus 270. I mean, if he comes back and does what he does last year, this should be the easiest pick on earth, but they also didn't give comeback player of the year to a guy who died on the field. So you never know who's going to win this. So I'll take Aiden in this one. Assistant coach of the year. I kind of teased this one earlier. Kelvin Shepard at plus 5,000. New Lions defensive coordinator. He's going to bring the pressure. I think the Lions are going to be very, very good again. And I think the defense is going to improve greatly with the additions. This is where the change comes in. This is what gets the Lions over the hump. Little tease for later on. Kelvin Shepard at plus 5,000, assistant coach of the year.
I like it. That's big money. All right. Let's quickly rip through my award predictions here. NFL regular season MVP, I've got Lamar Jackson. We'll talk about that here shortly, but with Josh Allen winning it last year, I think it's going to go back to Lamar here. I like his odds at plus 430. Offensive player of the year, Jamar Chase, plus 800, catching balls from Big Burrow. I think Cincinnati's going to have to put up big numbers in order to stay in games. So I think there's going to be a lot of touchdown passes getting thrown his way. So I like those odds. Defensive player of the year, I picked my boy Micah Parsons. He does have to be on the field in order to get this award, but I think even if he sits out for a couple weeks, comes in week 3, he might come in playing really pissed off because of everything that happened, and hopefully he takes it out on some offensive linemen. So I've got Micah Parsons sitting at plus 600. Lined up with you on Vrabel at plus 750. I really like those odds, and I honestly think that this New England team has a good shot at making the playoffs. That's going to be a huge turnaround from a 4-13 season. It would be hard not to give Coach of the Year to Mike Vrabel if the Patriots make the playoffs, and I think that there's a good possibility that happens. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jonty, we both agreed and talked about it a lot last year. It was highway robbery that this guy was not the Heisman winner last year. I think that Pete Carroll is going to weaponize Jonty as much as he can. There's not a lot of offensive weapons in the Raiders uniforms right now, so I think that he's going to get all the touches in the world, sitting at plus 250 on Offensive Player Rookie of the Year. Defensive side, I picked Travis Hunter for no other reason than he's sitting at plus 1,300. I know he's going to be in a ball share scenario on offensive defense. I think at some point in time, he's going to have to pick which way that he wants to go. I think he likes playing offense a little more than he likes playing defense.
Yeah, he should. He sucks.
We'll see what happens with that. But I like the odds to plus 1,300. Abdul Carter obviously is the shoe-in vote there. But I like the money line. Comeback player of the year, I'm with you, Aiden Hutchinson. There weren't a lot of guys here to pick from. And honestly, even if there were, I think Aiden's got a good shot at it. Assistant coach of the year, Vance Joseph. I picked him because, again, I just talked talked about the Denver Broncos. I think they have a possibility of taking the next step in the right direction, winning the AFC West. If they do that with the guys that they have on defense, we talked about their cornerbacks. They've got a lot of really good pieces. If they can be the number one defense in the league, which I think is a potential possibility, I think that there's a possibility that Vance Joseph may end up getting assistant coach of the year. So those are my picks on the awards side of the equation. We are going to jump into playoff predictions. Jake, you want to run through this?
All right. Let's start NFC. NFC, my 1 seed, the Lions, same as last year. Hopefully we got a different result in our first game this year. So Lions, they're going to be playing the winner of the 5-4. Got Tampa as the 4, Niners as the 5. Tampa on their home field. I do like them winning that game, setting up a Bucs-Lions divisional round. The other ones, we got the number 3 seed, the Rams, hosting the number 6 Commanders. I do like the Rams in this one. I think their defense will be enough to slow down Jaden Daniels. Or, God, fucking Kansas quarterback's already got me confused. What is he? Is he Jalen Daniels? Jesus.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden and Jalen, they shouldn't have similar names. We've got to change their names. I think the Rams defense will be able to put enough pressure that they won't have to use additional guys to shut him down, and they can keep their secondary back. I like the Rams in this one. I love what their offense is going to be. And that game will be at SoFi. Number 2, Eagles versus number 7 Falcons. I think Penix will be able to get his team into the playoffs this year. Last year he played in the playoffs, but he didn't really get the team there. It was more Cousins got him there, and he just kind of finished the season. I'm interested to see what a full season looks like with him. I think the Eagles are still just too good, though, so I'm going to take the Eagles to win that one, setting up an Eagles-Rams divisional round. So the Lions will be hosting the Bucs in Ford Field, a playoff game we saw 2 years ago. I like the Lions at home in this one this time, go to the NFC Championship. I think the Rams are going to get the Eagles this year. Last year they didn't. I think they'll get them this year, setting up for one final time, Stafford versus the Lions, because I think this will be Stafford's last year, regardless as to what happens. Unfortunately, Matthew, we're going to do it to you one more time. We do play in the regular season, though, so we'll see what happens in that one. I think that one's at SoFi. But one last time for the Rams and Lions, and it'd be bittersweet to see the Lions retire Matthew Stafford, but I think that's what's going to happen in that game. So we got the Lions going to the Super Bowl. AFC side, I got the Ravens as the 1. They'll be playing the winner of the 4-5. I got Texans as the 4, Patriots as the 5. I like the Patriots to win that game, setting up a matchup with the Ravens. 3-6, Chiefs will be hosting the Chargers divisional game in the playoffs. Taylor Magic will be in the stadium. I'll be taking the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Bills, Broncos. This is going to be one. This is a game I literally would not be. This is going to be a great game because the Broncos D against the Bills O, probably a cold, shitty weather game. Like, this is what you want to see. Like, I think this will be incredible. I do have the Bills going through to set up with that perennial matchup. Chiefs, Bills in the playoffs. Chiefs tend to get them in the playoffs, and don't think it's changing. Send the Chiefs to the AFC Championship for what, like the 8th year in a row now, I think it is. Ravens, Patriots on the other side. I like the Ravens on the home field to get it done, just a little too much. And I do have the Ravens on their home field beating the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, sending Taylor and Travis to Wedding Plan. Ravens in the Super Bowl versus the Lions. If you look at the Super Bowl logo, a lot of people say, look at the colors. That tends to tell you what teams are going to be there. We got blue and purple in that logo. So to me, why not? No surprise here. I think this is the year we get it done. I know I've said that last year. Last year we proved it during the season. I also couldn't anticipate 95 guys on our defense getting hurt. Obviously, injuries are a thing in the NFL. It happens. Health is key. Big if, obviously, if healthy, this year is what last year should have been. We finally get it done. Lions win the Super Bowl.
All right. Not surprised. But yeah, I like what you got going here. Let's hop into what I've got listed. So starting off the AFC, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles sitting in the 1 seed. So they're going to get that first round bye. The 5-4 spot, I've got the Green Bay Packers traveling to SoFi to play the Los Angeles Rams. I have the Rams winning that game and heading to Philly for their divisional round matchup. On the 3-6 spot, I do have the Detroit Lions getting a home game up against the Washington Commanders going to get a little bit of a rematch here this time around. I think it's going to go Detroit's way. So I do have Detroit winning that game and heading off into the divisional round matchup to play the winner of the 2-7 matchup. I know your eyes got big there because I do have the Dallas Cowboys sitting in the 7th spot. I'm cautiously optimistic that this team will be enough to make the playoffs, but that's going to be it. I think
I almost put my glasses on.
Baker is going to be ending the Cowboys season pretty quickly here. I just think Tampa is going to be too much for them. So Tampa in the 2 spot would then move into the divisional round matchup. Moving back up to the top here, we've got Philadelphia against the Rams. I went back and forth on this. I just have a feeling that just like last year, weather may play a factor, and if weather plays a factor, especially with Matthew being Matthew, and I'm a little concerned about them getting all the way through the entire regular season and then being in Philly with a really cold game. So I do have Philly edging them once again in moving into the NFC Championship. On the other side of the equation, I've got Tampa playing a home game against Detroit. Detroit and Tampa had a hell of a game in the playoffs not long ago. This time, I think Detroit is going to move on again, even though they'll be on the road. So Detroit is going to move into the NFC Championship to play the Philadelphia Eagles. Once again, I think Philadelphia is it's one of those teams that's been playing very well the past few years. I think that them being at home, it's going to be tough for Detroit to get another W in Philadelphia. I'll be rooting for Detroit in that game if this is what ends up happening, but I do have Philadelphia winning that and heading to the Super Bowl. On the AFC side, I have the Buffalo Bills sitting in the 1 spot, so they're going to get their first round bye. 4-5 spot, I've got the Denver Broncos with a home game against the Cincinnati Bengals. I have Denver winning that game pretty easily, moving into the divisional round. 3-6 spot, I've got the Houston Texans playing against the Kansas City Chiefs. I've got Kansas City winning that game and moving into the divisional round. And then I've got the number 2 Baltimore Ravens playing the number 7 New England Patriots. I think that game might be a little bit more concerning for Baltimore. They're definitely going to have to come in playing lights out because Vrabel's going to have that defense ready to go. But I do have Baltimore going on to win that game. Moving into the divisional round, I've got the Bills. Talked a little bit about it before. I think this might be the year that Chiefs may fall a little bit short. I have Buffalo actually beating them at home and moving into the AFC Championship. On the flip side of the equation, I've got the Baltimore Ravens hosting the Denver Broncos. Again, another situation where they're going to have another really tough defensive team, but I think that's a good test for Baltimore. I've got Baltimore winning that game and moving into the AFC Championship to play Buffalo. We've got Buffalo playing Baltimore in Baltimore. I think this is going to be Baltimore's year, so we're moving Baltimore on to the Super Bowl, and it's going to be an all birds Super Bowl, Ravens versus Eagles, and I have the Baltimore Ravens winning the Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Lamar finally gets one.
Lamar finally gets one. He's going to get that MVP. He's going to get a Super Bowl. That's the prediction. All right, guys. The last thing we've got here are prop bets. So we've got our favorite 10 prop bets. I'm looking at this number 1. I already know that's exactly why you put it in the top spot, but Jake, go ahead and run through these here.
Yeah, if only I could have known that it was going to come right after you had them making the playoffs. Like, what? Jesus God. I was not anticipating that.
Take a breath if you need to.
So I'll give you my Cowboys prediction here. So when I do my prediction, just like you do, we go through and we pick every game of the season, use our schedule predictor. I had the Cowboys at 7-10. 7-10. So I like the Cowboys under 7.5 wins at plus 105. The fact that it's only plus 105 tells me Vegas might think the same I do. They might be a 7-win team.
Yeah.
Moving on, Lions plus 12.5 wins. Last year we won 15. Think we're going to be right around that number again this year at plus 360. I do like that. Lions is the 1 seed. We were the 1 seed last year. Had to hang on and scrap to get it with the defense, but we got there. Like I said, I think this team is better. I think this is a better team. When you were going through your playoff thing, you mentioned about it would be a big deal playing that game at Philly against the Lions, and I agree. That's why getting the 1 seed is huge. We've got to have the playoffs go through Ford Field. So Lions getting the 1 seed at plus 700. The Saints under 2.5 wins at plus 420. I think the Saints are the worst team in the NFL. Going through their schedule, I only found 1 win. They would have to triple that to get to 3. So I like the Saints under 2.5 wins at plus 420. Lions, Bucks, Rams, Eagles, all to make the playoffs. I think this is all, to me, this is not far-fetched at all. This should all happen. Like, these are the teams both of us picked to win the divisions in every league. Plus 631. I love that.
It's good money.
The exact Super Bowl matchup of Ravens versus Lions is plus 2,700. Give me that. Bills, Texans, and Rams all win the division at plus 800. I like that. Obviously, the Texans and the Rams are both going to probably be questions. I think the Bills still have a little bit of advantage over New England, so I don't think we really have to sweat that one yet. But Texans winning in that tight division and the Rams winning in what could be San Francisco. So obviously that's where the risk comes in. But plus 800, I still love that. Titans over 5.5 wins, Commanders over 9.5 wins, and Patriots over 7.5 wins are plus 450. I love that too. This one I found kind of interesting. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Nico Collins each to just have a 60-yard reception at any point in the season. These guys are all deep threat receivers, and they're all receivers that their quarterbacks bomb the balls to a lot.
Yep.
Plus 350. I like it. Jamar Chase, you mentioned him earlier. Forget what you had, Offensive Player of the Year or something, but
that's correct.
Most regular season receiving yards for the same reason you mentioned. Burrow forces him the ball, throws it to him everywhere. He's unstoppable. Plus 600 for most regular season receiving yards, and probably the guy who's going to get the most deep ball threats. I do like this one a lot.
Awesome. I love all these except for number one. All right, let's move into my picks here very quickly. I've got Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl winner at plus 700. I like those odds. New England Patriots 8+ wins. I'm a little surprised it's minus 150, but I still think that they're going to be able to get well over 8 wins. So I like that bet. NFC South, more wins than the AFC South at plus 125. If you take a look at the schedule between the NFC and AFC South, I think that's a pretty good bet to put down. So plus 125, I like those odds. Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson combined for plus 2,500 yards. That's another one that I think is a very easy bet to win at plus 170. Buffalo Bills as the 1 seed in the AFC plus 170. I like that one as well. Dallas Cowboys plus 9.5 wins at plus 230. I know you're squinting there, but I got a feeling. We're going to do what we always do. Slip into the playoffs and then get knocked out in the first round. Baker Mayfield, most regular season passing touchdowns. I was a little bit more confident than that a couple days ago when I first picked this before the receiver injuries came into play, but I still think there's a good possibility. Baker likes to bomb the ball, plus 900. I like those odds. Chargers, Raiders, or Broncos win the AFC West at minus 130. I picked Denver to do it, so I like that bet. Saints, Browns, and Titans all finished last in the division, plus 500. I like that a lot. I think that's very easily going to be what ends up happening when you look at these 3 divisions. And then, as much as I hate to say it, Indianapolis Colts, you talked about Danny Dimes and being a little bit more confident in that team. I've watched Danny Dimes play a lot being in the NFC East. I'm just not confident in what he's going to be able to do with the Colts. We already know they got problems with AR. I'm just not seeing it. Indianapolis Colts minus 6.5 wins at plus 140. So that is my last prop bet for the season.
Yeah, and see, I only had the Colts getting to 8 wins, so that's still pretty right on.
Yeah, not too far off.
I was trying to do the math on that NFC South, the AFC South one. I think that I have the AFC South just a little higher because I only had the Saints winning 1 game. I think that's where I had Tennessee winning 6 games and the Saints only winning 1. I think that's where the difference comes in.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens there, but I like all these bets. These are all good odds to make some good money.
Number 6 is questionable, but yeah, they're all pretty good. Well, the other thing that I wonder too, though, the Baker one at 7, just because of their receiver questions with injuries to begin the year. That's what kind of scares me on that one. But yeah, I like them.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you also got Bucky Irving catching balls out of the backfield, so I think he might be able to grab a couple from there as well. So that's kind of what I was thinking. And I like the number there, plus 900. So, all right, guys, that is it for our NFL preview show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like we talked about earlier, we've already had a couple college episodes. We just picked 29 games on the college for week 1. Week 0 went pretty well for us. So definitely be sure to check out the college episode. And then on the NFL side, when we come back next week, we will be finally picking week 1 matchup games, and it starts on Thursday with the Dallas Cowboys. So all sorts of fun there. We'll update you guys on any of the roster moves. Obviously, with the cuts happening today, I'm assuming we'll see some signings and things like that. So we'll get you guys updated on the news and notes before we jump into picks. But we're into it, guys. Season 3 for us. Thank everybody for tuning in here for the fine citizen, Mr. Jacob Workman. This is Reese Downing, TNT Tuesday Night Touchdown Podcast, NFL Edition preview show. We will see you guys next week.
See ya.